जय हिंद दोस्तों, मैं हूं मेजर मोहम्मद अली शाह और मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। मेरा बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य है कि मैं एक बहुत ही वरिष्ठ बीएसएफ के पूर्व अधिकारी जो कि एडिशनल डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ बीएसएफ रह चुके हैं, मिस्टर संजीव कृष्ण सूद, जो तारुफ की कोई मोहताज नहीं है। आपने इनके कॉलम्स पढ़े हैं, आपने इनको मीडिया में अक्सर देखा है, आपने नाम जरूर सुना है, आप जानते हैं, आप वाकिफ हैं इनसे। इनकी इनका काफी अच्छा तजुर्बा रहा है मणिपुर में। आइए बात करते हैं इनसे कि इनकी हिसाब से, इनके मुताबिक मणिपुर में शांति लाने के लिए इनका क्या आइडिया है। सर, जय हिंद एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर टेकिंग योर टाइम, सर।
Jai Hind, and thank you very much for having invited me for this conversation. Thank you so much. And namaste
Thank you
to
very
all
much.
your viewers.
What honor. Sir, if I am not mistaken, I see a Manipuri painting in your background. Am I right?
Yes, that is my connect now with Manipur. You know, I've spent 2 tenures in Manipur, one as a unit commandant at Chudachandpur, and another as a commandant of our training center located at Chudachandpur. So, I have some attachment with Manipur, and when leaving there, we bought a lot of paintings from a studio called RK Studio. I think it is in Imphal. So that's those are Manipuri paintings, and this particular painting indicates a ceremony when the girl's side are taking things to the groom's side, taking gifts after the marriage has been finalized. So probably the initiation of marriage ceremonies.
Sir. So that's in fact a painting from Manipur in your house, and your background itself shows your attachment towards the Northeast, particularly to Manipur, sir. That's so
Yeah,
nice. It's indeed very, very heartening, sir.
yeah,
Sir,
yes.
सर, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट योर एक्सपीरियंस इन मणिपुर। इनफैक्ट आपके पेंटिंग से ही दर्शा रहा है। सर, आपका क्या विचार है, क्या आइडिया है, व्हाट इज इट दैट आइडिया दैट यू वुड बी हैविंग इन माइंड, बिकॉज आप भी देख रहे हैं मणिपुर में हो क्या रहा है, एंड आई एम श्योर यू आर इन टच विद एवरीवन ओवर देयर, एंड व्हाट अकॉर्डिंग टू यू कुड बी अ वे टू ब्रिंग पीस इन अ ब्यूटीफुल स्टेट लाइक मणिपुर, सर।
You have rightly said Manipur is a very beautiful place, and Manipur people are generally very, very congenial, very helpful, very friendly. This is my experience of my 2 tenures in Manipur. This thing has happened is extremely unfortunate, and there could be several reasons, and there are different narratives from different tribes. You talk to tribals, their narrative is that their area is seeing very little development. You talk to Meithis, they say that that there is a lot of illegal migration of Chin tribals who are similar to Kukis or Mizo tribes. They have similar lineage. So you talk to them, they say that it is the illegal immigrants who are causing this problem, coupled with the drug cartels. The narrative of Meithis is that the Kukis are involved in drug trade. So these are the narratives, but the facts may be slightly different. Uh, the point is that my experience in Chudachandpur, which itself is a remote area, I was there last. I was there, posted there till 2007. It has been now almost 16, 17 years. There might be several changes. But when I was there, and what my officers now tell me, that nothing much has changed. The administration in Chudachandpur used to run from city itself. The people in remote areas had never seen the face of bureaucracy. It is only when people like me and then my DIG, another DIG, we went to remote areas for a recruitment drive. Then they probably saw the face of government authority. So that is a very major problem in those areas, that remote areas are not at all developed, and to that extent, the problem or the narrative of cookies is true to a large extent. Uh, and another experience from Chudachandpur to Bihang on Myanmar border is only about 70 kilometers, and midway is a place called Singhat, which is about 35 kilometers. So then in 2007, I had been to Singhat, 35 kilometers, and it took me more than 3 hours to reach that place because the road condition was so bad. People tell me that the things have not improved. So one major problem is the lack of development in the remote areas. The government has to focus on this. The government must improve conditions. The politicians, the bureaucrats must show their presence in those areas to ameliorate the problem. They cannot project their problems to anyone. They are totally disconnected from the rest of the civil society. So that is what is extremely important. You see, if you take a figure, Manipur is one of the most impoverished state.
I think there's been a power disconnection at Sir's place, but I'm sure the power backup would enable it to come back very soon. And here we are hearing the views of a very senior officer from the Border Security Force, from the BSF, who had two tenures in Chashanpur, and he's telling his view, and you can see the passion and the love he has for the state. In fact, there is a painting of women from Manipur when they were during a marriage ceremony, when they exchange gifts. You can see that now. Yes, he's talking about the road condition right now. It took him to cover a few kilometers. So,
Can you hear me now again?
yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. But yes,
Electricity
now it's clear,
failure
sir.
here.
Now it's clear. So I was telling the audience while you had got
Okay.
disconnected, sir, about the road condition, sir. So I was telling the audience about the road condition.
Okay.
So the same year 2007, when you were in Chashanpur,
Huh.
that time I was serving with the Assam Rifles, sir. I was that time in Nagaland, and in fact, this is the Assam Rifles tie that I'm wearing
Okay.
with a lot of pride, which I wear it on my sleeve all the time. So
Yeah.
similarly, sir, a similar thing
Yes.
from Mon district in Nagaland till Twinsang, the Konyak belt is there actually. The Konyak tribe is dominant there. Just to cover that, it took
Yes.
us. The road was pathetic, is not the word, sir. If I say pathetic is not the word,
Yes.
it was raining. It was raining, and our vehicle was skidding in those rains. And I tell you, sir, my
Correct.
first trip there, how we reached, I know. So I can well relate to what you were saying. Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yes. So the point is that in remote areas, the government must improve infrastructure and must show their presence. Otherwise, the people will remain alienated. And another thing is that there is no other avenue for employment in those areas. So how do they earn their livelihood? And that results in the cultivation of ganja, poppy, etc. So, if you do not provide a livelihood to people, if you do not provide alternate means of sustenance to them, it is extremely difficult. And Burma being a neighboring country, it is very easy for the drug trade to take place. So, as I learned, lot of ganja is sent back to Myanmar for refinement, and it comes back to India in the shape of drugs. And we are all aware of a very sad statistics that Chudachandpur happens to be one of the most HIV impacted areas of the world. So that dubious distinction is something not to be very proud of. And government must do something to prevent them, or rather motivate them to desist from drug cultivation. But then it is not only the cookies who are involved in the drug trade. All tribes are equally involved. Probably the cookies or the hill tribes of those areas are at the lowest end of the drug cartel. Uh, you must have heard about the additional or assistant SP K. Brinda's statements. She says that she apprehended a drug lord, lots of drug and other contraband, but then she was compelled by the chief minister to get him released. So while it's a fact that poppy is cultivated, while it's a fact that my unit and other organizations have seized a lot of ganja and other things, but it remains a fact that uh, drug is a flourishing industry in that area, and everyone, not excluding the people in power, are involved in this. So that must stop. And one of the reasons that is cited for the present conflict is that drug lords want to gain control of the areas where uh, poppy and ganja is cultivated. So they want a control from end to end, from cultivation right up to the distribution. So that is said to be another cause of the present conflict, besides the immediate cause that was created by the controversial order of the Manipur High Court. Yeah.
True, sir, true. I'm getting some comments. Someone writing news. He seems from there, be from there, and he's like, Major sir, you are correct, but government ignored the Northeast India. But why care during elections only? Don't do publicity stunt. So, well, we are with you, gentlemen. Whoever is commenting, we are with you, and we know that the government, irrespective of the political party, I'm not talking about. We have no political lineages in the forge. We are all from one family. We are all sister force. The BSF. In fact, I had the honor of leading the Assam Rifles contingent for the Republic Day Parade 2008 sir, on Kartavya Path, that is no Rajpath. Assam Rifles
Okay.
के बिल्कुल आगे हमारी सिस्टर फोर्स थी सर बीएसएफ का
BSF.
कंटेंजेंट
Yes.
कंटेंजेंट था assistant commandant Rathod साहब was leading the contingent and the
Okay.
contingent camel contingent उनके पीछे था and we were right behind they
Yes.
because people had a problem saying that when they march obviously their droppings fall on the Rajpath and तो जो
Yes.
पीछे जो contingent होता है they have a problem उस पे boots will get dirty and such things but they were cleaners
Yes.
behind it. Assam Rifles,
Yes.
we said, we will do it. BSF is our sister, brother, whatever you may call it. हम साथ में
Yes.
एक ही वर्दी के हैं. वर्दी अलग हो तो क्या हुआ? खून एक ही है.
True.
And we marched
True.
behind the BSF. So what do you
True.
think of the role of the paramilitary of the Assam Rifles in the northeast part of India, sir?
Yeah. So you see, Assam Rifle has been targeted especially by the Meitei group, as being partial to the cookies. But in my view, there should be no reason for that. See, Assam Rifles is officered by people from Indian Army. They have no vested interest in favoring either of the communities. Number two, a large percentage, I think 50% or more of the troops are from outside the northeastern states. So even if 50% are from northeastern states, all of them may not be from Manipur. All of them may not be either cookies or or Meiteis. So in my view, Assam Rifles has the allegations that have been leveled against Assam Rifles are not true in my view, and uh, that is what I hear from my officers also in deployed in Manipur. We have, in fact, an IG has been placed there in Imphal nowadays to look after the large contingent of BSF that is operating there. So the problem is that if a force tries to act in an impartial manner, it is targeted by one or the other communities. Uh, but unfortunately, I cannot say the same thing about Manipur police. See, there have been video evidence of Manipuri people favoring their own community, Meiteis community. See, Manipur, Meiteis being almost 49% of the population, and if you include Pangals, it must be more, it must be around 57, 58%. So, Meiteis being a dominant community, they have a lot of control over the systems, over the establishment, over the political uh, representation also. So the police also similarly has a larger uh, proportion of Meiteis amongst them. So the allegation that police is favoring Meiteis may be true to an extent, and it also emanates from the fact that almost 6,000 weapons and a lot of ammunition has been quote unquote looted from them. Police, the army of a army unless there is unless these weapons probably been handed over to them. So
Your connection is breaking up slightly, sir. Your connection is breaking up slightly, and uh, firstly, thank you very much for saying about the Assam Rifle. What you said, your views, they really really matter a lot, and they are heartfelt. I felt so good, sir, because I know Assam Rifles are led by regular army officers, so there is no reason at all. We are totally impartial, and the very fact is, being from the Assam Rifles, also, I would say we protect the victims. Whoever is being victimized, irrespective, you could be a Maite, you could be Kuki, you could be Naga, you could be Sanamai, you could be from anywhere, from any. We will protect who is being victimized. We will not see the caste, community, real religion, region, anything. So, and and we have my father, when he was posted in Manipur. In fact, we've had very good experience with. In fact, Manipur police, I used to find it a very professional force. When they were at that time, I'm talking about the 97, 98. I'm talking about जो हमने देखा था करीब से, तो मैं I was very impressed by them. I used to find them like really solid, and I used to find the communal harmony between Maites and Cookies to be very solid, I never thought in my wildest dreams कि एक दिन ऐसा clash होएगा, sir. And मणिपुर पुलिस ने FIR किया असम राइफल्स पे, मैं मानता हूं, मगर मेरा ऐसा मानना है, मेरा निजी तौर पे मानना ऐसा है that everyone is doing their job. Everyone is Assam Rifles is doing the job. The army is doing a commendable job. Assam Rifles is doing a commendable job. The BSF is doing a commendable job. The CRPS, CRPF, जो भी हैं, बल्कि जो वर्दी वाले जितने भी हैं, including Manipur police for that matter, I am saying, I will give them the credit that सब अपना अपना काम कर रहे हैं अपने अपने तरीके से. Sir, what you have thrown some very good ideas के infrastructure law, and in fact there is this gentleman, he is commenting that वहाँ पे jobs नहीं है. He's written there is a factory or any something where people can work, or something where someone angry with someone they can pick up arms. So people should actually, जैसे आपने बताया, employment वहाँ पे generate होनी चाहिए. वैसे ही इन्हीं साहब ने लिखा है, no proper resources, funding, no connectivity, no entrepreneurship. What can we expect, sir? In Nagaland, there is no single hospital. What is your government doing? I mean, इन्होंने ये लिखा है. So this shows the resentment. People think that they have been neglected, and I personally believe they have been neglected. There's no doubt. इसलिए मेरा बहुत खास फोकस रहता है सर. बहुत लोग जम्मू कश्मीर में होता है तो फट से वहां पे वायरल हो जाती है खबर. मेरा ऐसा मानना है, इसलिए मैं मणिपुर, नागालैंड, नॉर्थ ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया को बहुत ज्यादा तवज्जो देता हूं सर.
I totally agree that Northeast probably is not on the horizon of the government. You see, when the present conflict started on 3rd of May last year, the government didn't do anything for almost 1 month. Neither the state government nor the central government. The Home Minister went there only around 28th, 29th of May. So for good 20 days, there was such heavy violence, there was such heavy looting of weapons, and in spite of the fact that we have a entire ministry devoted to northeastern affairs, nothing much is reaching. And in fact, within the budget allocated uh, for, say, the state of Manipur, I was reading a statistic somewhere. I think for the last year's budget, 22-23, 7,000 crores were allotted, or maybe some other year, but only about 400 crores were allotted for the hill areas, which are 89% of the land mass of Manipur. So the development in hill areas is, as I already said, the investment in hill areas is very less. You see, you only have one good hospital in Imphal. The hospital in Chudachandpur that I saw was in a very pitiable condition. Um so, and connectivity, as has been rightly said, there's an airport, but then road connectivity is extremely tedious. Probably the Jiribam, from Jiribam side, the rail track that is coming will improve connectivity, hopefully to a great extent. But with this conflict going on, how much will it be useful? How much will the people of Manipur be able to use this kind of connectivity? So improving connect and like the border roads and border fence came up along the India's border with Pakistan and Bangladesh, and that created a kind of job opportunity, that created income earning avenues for the local population. So, but then ecology of Manipur has to be taken into account when you decide of establishing industries out there. So, as has been reported widely, that government has allowed palm cultivation there. Now, palm cultivation is a very high water consuming activity, and the fragile ecology of Manipur will not be able to sustain this kind of farming. So government must do a rethink. Government must encourage people to indulge in some other activities like poultry, it could be like cattle rearing, it could be maybe one can test those areas for rubber plantation, for coffee plantation, and all those things. This will also wean away the tribals from drug cultivation. So I mean government has to do all these things, but then, as I said, the northeast must come onto the horizon. The Act East policy of the government must include the regions of northeast. It must only be not only be Act East for relations with foreign countries. It must also be Act Northeast for improving the conditions of Manipur and all other northeastern states. We need to focus more, we need to invest more, and within the state, we need to invest more in the tribal, tribal areas, which are mostly hill areas, which are totally underdeveloped. So that is important in my view for curtail. And insofar as uh, removal of FMR is concerned, free movement regime, which has been done a couple of months ago. Now, you had 150 or even more formal and informal. Formal crossings are only 3 or 4 in all the northeastern states. Remaining were informal uh, crossings. There are almost 1,000 villages located within 10 kilometers of the borders of with Myanmar. So how do they survive if you remove FMR? If you have removed FMR, how do they survive? What effect will it have on the economy of the border area? I think these thoughts should have gone into uh, while assessing the impact of removing FMR. Probably this has not been done. And then how do you enforce that this kind of thing? You see, these are remote areas, difficult terrain. There are villages located right on the border. Half the villages in Manipur, half the villages in Myanmar. Again, there's been a light this thing.
No worries, sir. No worries.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can
Okay,
hear you, sir. We can hear you.
so half the villages in Myanmar, half the villages in Manipur. Their economies are intertwined. See a small thing. I don't know what watermelon. If supposing I'm giving an example, watermelon may not be possible to be produced there. A small crop of say potatoes, he finds it the border resident finds it easier to dispose it of in a village located close by in Myanmar. How will he bring it all the way from More or from Chudachandpur back to a proper market? Firstly, there is no road connectivity. Secondly, it might spoil by the time it reaches there. So, removing FMR, while the government in its wisdom has taken the decision, but then the impact on economy, local economy of the border area should have been considered. Another thing which government might decide, which it has said that they are thinking over it is fencing the border. Now, fencing the border, 1,600 kilometers of borders, and I think almost 400 kilometers of border only in Manipur. How does
Yes, sir.
one do it?
बल्कि
It's
घर है नागालैंड में,
such a
बल्कि घर है नागालैंड में जिनका बेडरूम हिंदुस्तान में है और ड्राइंग रूम
absolutely,
म्यांमार में है. ऐसे ऐसे घर हैं. Sir, I had the
absolutely.
honor of interviewing
Ah,
two former ambassadors to Myanmar from India, Ambassador Preet Mohan Singh and
ah,
Ambassador Gautam
okay.
Mukhopadhyay, and both had the same view जो आप कह रहे हैं. उन्होंने वही व्यू शेयर करी सर, बिल्कुल
Ah,
बिल्कुल वही व्यू शेयर करी. तो एज अ जूनियर ऑफिसर आई वांट टू लर्न मोर कि चैलेंजेस क्या है. अगर हम फेंसिंग कर देते थे, होम मिनिस्ट्री ने निर्णय लिया है हम फेंसिंग करेंगे, हम एफएमआर रोकेंगे, तो आई जस्ट वांट फॉर माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड फॉर व्यूज अंडरस्टैंडिंग सर, तो चैलेंजेस क्या लग रहे हैं आपको इसमें? जो 16 किलोमीटर का पैक्ट है कि आइदर कंट्री से 10 माइल पैक्ट, वी कैन कम अक्रॉस, वी कैन स्टे देयर विद द परमिशन ऑफ गांव बूढ़ा ओनली, तो उसमें चैलेंजेस क्या दिख रहे
yes.
हैं आपको सर?
The first challenge is how to enforce it from the places where there are informal crossings. See, the border management system which is presently prevalent there is of the COB system, not of the BOP system that BSF or ITBP or SSB adopts. So BOPs are located right on the border, along the border, within 500 meters, 1 kilometer of the international border. However, in case of Myanmar, it is not possible. The firstly, the ab initio deployment of Assam Rifles, which is mandated force for border management of Northeast, is total battalions maybe I think 47 or 48, and out of that only about 8 or 10 are earmarked for border guarding, rest are for internal security. Now, how does Assam Rifle manage such long border with just 8 or 10 battalions, or maybe 12 battalions? I'm not very sure of the figures. So how does one manage such large borders? Number one, large borders Number two, border running through an extremely difficult terrain, geographically as well as population wise. If you include population as part of terrain, then as you said, one house may have its drawing room in India, bedroom in Myanmar, or half the village may be located this side. So enforcing suspension of FMR is extremely difficult. Number two, how do you fetch the stores for construction of fence in those areas? There is no road. And even if you start today, in my view, including survey, planning, alignment, you will first have to construct a road. Then you'll have to carry the stores for installing the fencing. So it might take larger part of 2 decades to fence the border. And fences do not ensure that infiltration will not take place. This is the experience along the India-Bangladesh border. This is the experience along India-Pakistan border, taking the Indian instances, take the American instance of not the fence, the wall, the Mexico-US border. So how does, fences cannot ensure that there'll be no infiltration, cross-border migration, or cross-border illegal trade. Fences cannot ensure that unless you keep them constantly under observation. So once the fence comes, we'll have to establish BOPs there to keep constant surveillance over these borders. So you will have to probably raise several additional battalions of Assam Rifles, or if you want Assam Rifles to remain exclusively for internal security, then you'll have to raise an additional border guarding force in accordance with the one task, one force principle that was given by the group of ministers report after the Kargil war. So it's not only a logistical nightmare, it also creates several operational issues. And not to be last but not the least is the ecology of the area. Wouldn't such large scale construction, road, fence, disturb the ecology of that area? So one has to take all these factors into consideration before. And what will you do with the villages which are located, which would be located ahead of the fence? You perhaps can't align your fence right along the zero line. And then there's a lot of resistance from even the Mizoram state government to the fence. Earlier, I think a few years ago, they had tried to fence the area near More, but it had to be abandoned because of the resistance from locals. So all these factors must be taken into account instead of rushing through a decision and repenting later on. I think fencing the border may not be a very good idea.
Right, sir. So let's just throw some light on. I was very happy when you spoke about the Assam Rifles and the actually impartial force. We would like to hear a bit more from a senior officer from the BSF on this. इसमें क्योंकि मेरे को पर्सनली दिल से बड़ी खुशी हुई सर. Unfairly, and मैंने बोला भी है इसके बारे में कि we are unfairly targeted because कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि फेवर कर रहे हैं माइते को या कुकी को, बल्कि जो लोग अक्यूज करते हैं असम राइफल्स को, दे आर फेवरिंग कुकीज, उनको भी मैं ये यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं अपनी तरफ से दैट we have all India force. So yes, we have people from the northeast part of India as well. We have a lot of Maites as well. जो माइते फोर्स के अंदर हैं असम राइफल्स में, तो क्या इनका ये मतलब है कि क्या वो भी कुकी को फेवर कर रहे हैं? नहीं ना, ऐसा नहीं है. तो वी आर अ वेरी वेरी न्यूट्रल बैलेंस्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो उसके बारे में सर प्लीज आपसे सुनना चाहते हैं सर. वाकई बहुत ही अच्छा लगा सर आपसे सुन के. ये
No, I am in total agreement that Assam Rifle or any force like BSF or CRPF, which is inducted from outside, is a neutral force. They have no vested interest in supporting either of the ethnic communities which are in conflict. However, the problem is that these forces are operating with their hands tied behind their back. They do not have the full liberty to operate. You see, Article 356 not having been imposed implies what? If they had imposed Article 356, the ensuring the law and order would have come under the purview of the central government. Central forces would have had free hand in controlling the situation. And then there's a very strange thing that Armed Forces Special Power Act has not been extended to 19 districts, 19, not districts, 19 police stations located in the valley. So, how does one deal with that situation? You have deployed a force, but then you have not given them power to carry out search and seizures. So, how does one locate where those 6,000 weapons are unless he's allowed to carry out search and seizure operations? So, unless that and and you see, even otherwise, the society was highly militarized because of the insurgency situation that prevailed. And with these 6,000 weapons, and I think hardly 10% would have come back. The society is further militarized. The what is the name that Arambai? I'm forgetting the name of that organization. Openly threatening even the armed forces. And if armed forces apprehend a terrorist, this Mira Pebi, which actually started with a very noble, with very noble aims of freeing the Manipuri society from the menace of drugs. Uh, they resist their arrest, and there have been a couple of instances when the known militants had to be released. So one uh, needs to empower the security forces uh, to a great extent so that they can carry out their operations without any uh, without any restrictions, and thereby recover seized weapons, number one, apprehend militants or the troublemakers, and get them to trial. And then, as has been said somewhere, that almost 11,000 FIRs have been filed. But what has happened to those FIRs? Have have some actions been taken? Have those people been brought to book? Have those people been dealt with by the law of the land? So all those have the peace committees which were declared in September last year. Have they become active on ground? I don't think so. So unless you really have the intent, uh, probably things will not get under control. One must ensure that these things materialize as fast as possible.
सर सर about the peace committee, 51 members की peace committee तो form हो गई थी, and 25 Maites, about 10 or 11 Cookies or Nagas, इस हिसाब से they had, and they were politicians in this committee as well. But the irony is, ये पीस कमेटी जो मेंबर चुने गए थे उन्होंने ही रिजेक्ट करी. उन्होंने ही बोला कि as a young mind, I want to understand why are people like you, or there's a gentleman called Mr. Amrik Singh Pava, जो मणिपुरी सिख हैं, he's neither Maite nor Kuki, or they are various DGPs of police who are not from Manipur. Why they are former chief secretaries, they've been former governors. Why are they
Yes.
not? Or I don't know if they are being approached or not. मैंने जानता, मगर I personally feel जो लोग वहां के बारे में समझ रखते हैं, who are passionate, I would give a clear cut example of person like you, sir. आपसे बेहतर कोई होगा ही नहीं वहां पे. तो why have they been approached, or someone like you, or if they have not been, I don't know, why not?
I do not know. At least I have not been approached. And you said chief secretaries and police officers. There are several generals like the Assam Rifle General Shokeen and so many others who whose experience of operating in those areas can be very useful for ensuring peace. And when there are two parties in conflict, Kukis and Meiteis, it is extremely difficult for them to talk to each other unless a third party is roped in. You see, you have Nagas who have so far maintained a neutral stance. You have why not rope them in? Why not depute them, select them, depute them to talk to each other, talk to different communities, and then you must be aware, having operated vastly in those areas, you must be aware of the respect that a Gaon Buddha uh, gets from people there. Why not use the sanity and maturity of those Gaon Buddhas in getting people to talk to each other and resolve these problems? So I don't know what is happening. Why is Manipur situation? I mean, if I may say, being allowed to fester for so long. See, the first step immediately after 3rd May, maybe a couple of days later, should have been imposed president's rule. But probably, why has it not been done? I can only hazard a guess that probably the central government doesn't want to become accountable directly. Presently, they have a excuse that there's a state government and which is trying to resolve the problem. So accountability is of the state government, but state government is not doing anything. And you see the I mean, I was seeing the comments here. Two issues have been brought out. One is illegal migration, and the other is the quota for Metis, scheduled tribe quotas for Metis. You see, there have been several committees. One was Lokur Committee of 1965. There was another committee, Bhuria Committee of 93 or 2004, and then there have been a high-level committee. They have defined certain parameters. So all those issues must be taken, all those parameters must be taken into consideration. I'm not saying whether Metis have the right to become scheduled tribes or not. I have no view on that. But then the parameters defined by them must be taken into consideration before deciding. And the fact is, if you go through a book called I'll tell you, a book called Shooting the Sun by Nandita Haksar, she says that the demand of Metis for scheduled tribe status has been rejected twice. Uh, she quotes a RTI application that was filed by, this is on page 58, 59 of that book. She quotes Hindu newspaper. Through RTI, they had obtained this information that their demand for scheduled tribe status was rejected twice. And then one must also consider, the Metis must also consider that granting them scheduled tribe status might gain them reservation of 7.5%, but it will lose them the reservation of 27% OBC and 15% reservation of scheduled caste. So they will lose almost 42% reservation and gain only 7.5% reservation in government job.
ये डायनेमिक्स मुझे समझ में नहीं आई सर। इफ ये आपने 7% और 27% का जो जो परसेंटेज बताया, जो आंकड़े बताए आपने, मुझे ये बात समझ में नहीं आई सर। हाउ इज दिस इफ दे गेट द शेड्यूल? बिकॉज आई interviewed one former colonel sahab, who had put up the, who was leading the campaign of the demand for the scheduled tribe status for Maites. So he said that ये पिछले 10 साल से हम कोर्ट में लड़ रहे हैं इस केस के बारे में, और अब तक तो मैंने कहा हक तो बनता है किसी का भी, आप अपील कर लीजिए, आप अप्लाई कर लीजिए, देना नहीं देना वो तो कोर्ट के ऊपर है। Ultimately what I would say, they would not be wrong in applying for it or demanding for it, and whether they are getting it or not, वो तो गवर्नमेंट और द कोर्ट और वो तो लीगैलिटीज के ऊपर है सर। वो दैट इज सो आई वाज, तो ये जो डायनेमिक्स आपने समझाया सर, दे माइट गेन 7%, दे माइट लूज सर्टेन परसेंटेज, वो कैसे हुआ सर? वो सर समझाएंगे उसके ऊपर सर?
See, if they become scheduled tribe, तो scheduled tribe वाली reservation applicable होगी उनको, which is only 7.5%. But presently, since they are treated as not treated as scheduled tribe, so they are treated as any other Indian person who is eligible for reservation under the constitutional scheme of things. Constitutional scheme of things is that 15% reservation is applicable to scheduled castes. So the scheduled castes amongst the Meiteis are eligible for this 15%, and they are also eligible for 27% reservation under the OBC, other backward classes. So 27% reservation would be available to OBCs amongst the Meiteis. So that is what I was trying to explain. By insisting on obtaining scheduled tribe status, they will certainly gain 7.5% reservation, but they will lose on the OBC reservation on scheduled caste, especially for government jobs. But then their demand for scheduled tribe status is mainly for acquisition of land in the hill areas. Now, Manipur Land Reforms and Land Revenue Act of 1965, is it? Or maybe 60, lays down restrictions for acquisition of land in tribal areas. So if you have to, if they want to obtain land or purchase land in that area, they have to follow the procedure prescribed in that. And theoretically, this act is applicable to entire Manipur except the hill areas. So theoretically, they are allowed to purchase land, and there have been several instances where the land has been transferred to them. But only point is that the community has to give written consent before the deputy collector or the authorized representative of government can allow such transfer of land to presently non-tribals Meiteis. So, and the fact that I mentioned about, from Nandita Haksar's book is that way back in 1982 and in 2001 or 2, twice the case was moved for granting scheduled tribe status to Meiteis by the Manipur government or by different people, and twice it has been rejected. So had the state government or the central government brought these facts to the notice of High Court before they pronounced their decision, and you know, the so much of misinformation goes around. The High Court decision does not say that you grant them scheduled tribe. It only says that you consider their case. Now, there is a lot of difference between the two. So had the government taken initiative, firstly, to inform the court about the two previous instances when the case was moved and when the government had not accepted this, probably the stance of the court could have been different. And secondly, had the government taken initiative to explain the implications to the tribal people of the High Court judgment to the tribal people, probably the things would not have come to such a head. So I think government also is amiss in not being proactive in explaining these issues to public at large. So that is the, but however, the fact is that British, uh, I think in the 1981 census or something, uh, described Metis as tribes. But that doesn't mean that they describe them as scheduled tribes. Scheduled tribe, scheduled caste is a post-independence categorization of people. So, but in 1951, the Metis were not categorized as scheduled tribes. So the cases were moved, the cases were rejected. The latest one is the cause of conflict. So,
सर
what was,
मैंने ये
yeah,
देखा है सर that a common माइते is a very आप किसी माइते से दोस्ती करेंगे तो बड़े लार्ज हार्टेड खुले दिल के बड़े अच्छे फ्रेंडली एंड वेरी वार्म हार्टेड जनरल a common cookie also would be the same very very
yes,
warm hearted खुले दिल के और नागा भी होंगे वैसे सो ये जो भाइयों की तरह रह रहे थे इतने सालों से अब सडनली ऐसे इनमें फूट पड़ गया है अब भी अगर आप आई एम सो सॉरी सर आप पानी पी रहे हैं प्लीज वाटर सर
don't
सो
worry, don't
आई
worry.
क्विकली I'll quickly conclude on this सर एक कॉमन इंसान तो बस शांति चाहेगा वो तो चाहेगा कि भाई हम मिलजुल के रह लें हम बस अपना रोजी रोटी काट लें हमारा हमारे हम भाईचारा रहे जैसे रहा था सडनली एकदम से ऐसा फूट पड़ गया है दैट अनफॉर्चुनेटली मुझे बड़े दुख से कहना पड़ा है क्योंकि मेरे दोस्त हैं बड़े अच्छे दोस्त हैं माइते भी और बड़े अच्छे दोस्त हैं कुकी भी और बड़े अच्छे दोस्त हैं नागा भी वो आपको पता होगा सर और आप वैसे ही आपके भी होंगे सो
जी
suddenly it feels bad to see your own brethren उनको हम अपने ही brethren समझते हैं हम कोई अलग नहीं समझते उनसे so suddenly we see them the wounds are getting deeper and deeper instead of healing and instead of improving और जो एक नैरेटिव बन रहा है ना थिंग्स आर नॉर्मल इन मणिपुर सब कुछ सही है द स्टेट ऑफ वायलेंस हैज काम डाउन कुछ नहीं हुआ अभी सडनली सीआरपीएफ की जो किलिंग हुई वो आउट ऑफ
जी
द
बात
बॉक्स हुई और मैंने कहा जब आप बफर जोन क्रिएट करते हैं और आप इनको सेग्रीगेट करते हैं इनके इलाके में आज की तारीख में एक माइते कुकी के इलाके में नहीं जा पाता एक कुकी माइते के इलाके में नहीं जा पाता एक कुकी को अगर जाना होगा मणिपुर तो ही विल गो वाया मिजोरम पूरा इस बार घूम के वो चाचनपुर आएगा वो he cannot land there to land at Imphal airport and go a Maite
true.
who lived in More or in Chachanpur is staying in a relief camp unfortunately cannot get back to his place तो ये इतना जो नफरत जहर और ये वायलेंस पैदा हो गया है क्या आपको लगता है ये जल्दी सिमट पाएगा सर ये
जल्दी नहीं होगा मेरे को लगता है कि it will take some time but the point is that it has to be controlled otherwise there are extremely serious implications for the security of the nation it has the potential of fueling secessionist forces in the northeast at worst and if one can use that word at best it might convert into a communal flagrations see uh, the locals do not think of this as a communal issue but the narrative which is being spread elsewhere especially by certain social media handles uh, associated with extreme Hindutva thinking is that it's that Hindu Metis are under threat. So it has the potential, and with the number of churches being burnt, with the number of temples being destroyed, it has the potential to convert into a communal flagration also. And the worst case scenario is that besides Manipur, it might fuel further insurgency and secessionist movements in other parts of the Northeast. So we must taken to the and for that the first step is to ensure that the violence stops immediately. There's no violence between the two communities. For that, you have to give a free hand to the security forces like the Assam Rifles, like the BSF, the Indian Army, whosoever is operating there. It is a must that they get a free hand to apprehend troublemakers, to seize weapons which are all over in the society. So, and then bring them to a discussion table through a
Sir,
third party intervention. So that
that
is
is very
extremely
interesting, sir.
important.
Actually, literally stole words from my mouth. Bring them on the table for talks through a third party
Yes,
intervention. So मैं कब से I've been
yes,
crying hoarse that मैंने बोला है नेशनल टीवी पे बोला है that I volunteer, चलो और कोई बात नहीं तो मेरे घर आ जाओ, मेरे घर आके बात करेंगे.
हाँ,
I
correct.
have in so many words I said this because we've been genuinely wanting peace to come in a beautiful state like Manipur. Sir, मैंने आपका बहुत वक्त ले
Yes.
लिया है and it was so intriguing and great education, great learning being in conversation with you. और जाते जाते सर एक मैसेज मैं दे रहा हूँ अपने जितने भी फोर्सेस के भाई हैं वर्दी वाले कोई भी हो आर्मी के असम राइफल्स के बीएसएफ के पैरामिलिट्री के चाहे मणिपुर पुलिस के कहीं के भी भाई अपना मोराल अप रखो. अब आप बेहतर से बेहतर बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो सब लोग. Don't let your morale get affected by anything. Sir, any last message of peace you would like to send out in the universe before I let you go, sir? I've taken a lot of your time, I know. Sir.
You see, uh, my only comment is that we repair our roof when the sun shines. So it might, if we keep delaying it, it might be too late, and the sun may not shine any longer. So we must initiate the peace process soonest, so that things stabilize and the violence ends. And that's it. Government, both in the center and the state, must be proactive in ensuring this, which unfortunately has been lacking so far.
Sir, very well said by you, sir. Sir, thank you. I sincerely thank you for your time. It was wonderful being in conversation with you, sir. Thank you, sir. Jai
Thank
Hind,
you so
sir.
much. Jai Hind.
Sir.
Thank you.